My name is Alan Rivers. I'm 39 years old, a software consultant, and until a few months ago, I believed I was living the dream. I had a thriving career, a wife I cherished, and a sleek, modern home just outside Seattle. Life appeared solid, secure, something I had built from the ground up. But that illusion shattered the moment I lost my job and with it. I discovered the devastating truth about the woman I thought I knew. Let me take you back to how it all began. I met Melina 7 years ago at a tech networking event. She was poised, magnetic, and worked in interior design. While many of the people there were more interested in status or showing off, she seemed different, less flashy, more grounded, or so I thought. We dated for just under a year before getting married. At the time, I was climbing the ladder at a growing software company while nurturing a small firm on the side. She never seemed particularly focused on what I earned. She claimed to value our quiet nights, our spontaneous road trips, and the idea of building a life together. Fast forward to last winter. The company I helped build was hit hard by a crippling ransomware attack. I fought tooth and nail to preserve the contracts I'd personally cultivated, but the board moved swiftly. Cuts were made. I was one of them, no warning. Just a severance check and a sterile goodbye from a place I'd given years of my life to. That night I walked into our home. Exhausted but hoping for some semblance of support, I sat Melina down and told her I'd been let go. I expected concern, or at least a sign of solidarity. But her response was ice cold. She tilted her head and asked, "So, what are we supposed to do now? You don't have a job?" "No," I replied. "Not yet, but I'll figure it out." She didn't even let me finish. "Alan, I didn't marry a man just to babysit him through failure." The words cut deep, but it got worse. The very next morning, she handed me a cup of coffee, sat across the table, and in a tone that felt rehearsed, said, "I've spoken to a lawyer. I want a divorce. I need someone with direction, and clearly, you've lost yours." I was stunned. Just days before, we'd been planning our next vacation. Now, she was discarding 7 years of marriage like it meant nothing. "I lost my job, not my worth," I said. She didn't flinch. "Look, Alan, let's make this easy. You sell the house, split the accounts, and move on. I won't fight you if you don't fight me." And that's when it hit me. She'd never once asked how I felt, never asked what I needed. She was already out the door emotionally. And suddenly, I remembered something critical, something she had clearly forgotten. I was the sole owner of everything when we got married. I insisted on a prenuptial agreement, not because I didn't love her, but because I'd watched 2 close friends get financially destroyed in their divorces. She hesitated, but ultimately signed, assuming I had little to protect. What she didn't know was that everything, our house, the cars, the investment properties, even the joint accounts, were in my name or held under an LLC I solely owned. She never asked, never checked. She simply assumed for 2 weeks I let her live in the illusion. She packed, brought her sister over to help, even started picking out furniture for a new place. I remained calm, cooperative. I told her I'd contact my lawyer to ensure everything was fair. Meanwhile, I moved into the guest room and waited. When the day came, we sat across from each other at my attorney's office. Melina arrived looking like she was headed to brunch, sunglasses, designer heels, confidence radiating. Her lawyer, Rayner, had that smug look that said he thought this would be quick and easy. My attorney, Mr. Bishopin, unassuming man in his 60s, with sharp eyes and a sharper mind, slid a folder across the table. "This is the breakdown of assets," he said. "Please pay close attention to the ownership column." Rayner barely glanced before declaring, "We'll be claiming half of everything." Mr. Bishop adjusted his glasses. "You can't. Everything is in my client's name either. Acquired through his LLC or inherited before the marriage, that includes the home your client currently resides in." Rayner blinked. "The accounts," Mr. Bishop continued, "were solely funded and maintained by Mr. Rivers. The prenuptial agreement is airtight." I looked at Melina.
House.
The smugness vanished from her face like a switch had been flipped. She flipped through the documents, her eyes widening. "This isn't possible," she whispered. "Oh, it's very possible," I said. "You wanted a clean split. Here it is." Rayner stammered, trying to find a loophole, but it was useless. The prenup specifically excluded all business and real estate assets. It even stated that joint accounts would revert to my name if she filed for divorce unprovoked within the first 5 years. We were at 4 years and 6 months. Melina's face twisted. "You tricked me." "No," I said. "You tricked yourself. You married me thinking I was your safety net. But the moment life got hard, you showed me exactly who you were." Mr. Bishop then slid one final envelope across the table. "This was delivered to us yesterday," he said. "You may want to read it." Inside was a copy of a lease agreement signed a week before she served me the divorce papers. It was for a condo rented by Melina and a man named Carter. I'd seen his name once before on a credit card statement. She said he was a design client. Clearly he was much more than that. I leaned in. I'd lost my job. "But you'd already moved on, hadn't you?" Her lips parted, but no words came out. "I hope he makes more than I did," I added. "Because now you're walking away with nothing but the luggage you packed, a cheating heart no one wants." I left them both there, her in stunned silence, her lawyer flipping through the prenup again, as if hoping he'd missed something. 2 months later, quietly launched my own cybersecurity firm, Stone Watch Systems, using savings she never knew existed. The layoff turned out to be the best thing that could have happened. I secured a contract with a major cybersecurity firm and doubled my income within 6 weeks.
No more corporate change.
No more pretending at home. Just peace and freedom. About a month after that, Melina called, left a voicemail. "I made a mistake. Maybe we should talk." I didn't respond. I simply changed my number. Sometimes losing everything you thought mattered is how you discover what really does. When people show you who they are, believe them the first time. 3 months passed. My company was thriving. I'd hired a few former colleagues and secured 2 lucrative federal contracts. Recruiters were reaching out regularly. I wasn't just on my feet, I was flying. Then Melina tried to creep back. In again, first a casual text. "Hey, can we talk? Just coffee. I think we need closure." Ignored it. Then came a stream of increasingly desperate messages. "You said you loved me once. Doesn't that mean anything?" Carter was a mistake. I was confused. "And then you look good in that photo with the redhead." "Why you're not answering?" I actually laughed. She was referring to Clara, my attorney's assistant, the same woman who had handed her the prenup. We weren't dating, but the fact that Melina thought she still had some kind of hold over me was absurd. But things quickly turned darker. One Monday morning, my head of operations, Luke, walked into my office holding a manila envelope. "You need to see this," he said. Inside were dozens of printed screenshots, anonymous social media posts accusing me of client fraud, code theft, even sexual harassment. I was floored. "Where did these come from?" I asked. "They've been circulating in a few industry groups," Luke said, "and 3 clients received anonymous emails warning them about you." I'd kept impeccable HR and legal records, so none of it stuck, but the damage could have been devastating. I immediately hired a digital forensics expert. Didn't take long to trace the IP address, Carter's condo. The burner email accounts were created on his Wi-Fi, but the tone, the grammar, the phrasing it was all Melina. She hadn't just moved on. She was now actively trying to destroy everything I'd rebuilt. My lawyer issued a cease and desist, and we filed charges for defamation and interference with business relations, but karma wasn't done. Every year, the Northwest Tech Circle hosted a black tie gala. This year, I was invited as one of the keynote sponsors, a chance to meet major CEOs and federal contractors. I didn't expect to see Melina there, yet there she was, clinging to Carter near the bar, wearing a champagne-colored dress. Carter looked like he wanted to be anywhere else. She saw me walk in with Clara. Yes, I brought her. Yes, she looked stunning. And yes, it was entirely intentional. Melina stormed over, seething. "Alan, this is childish. I'm dragging her here just to get under my skin." I smiled. "Melina, you tried to destroy my company. You fabricated lies." What exactly do you think you're entitled to now? I did no such thing, she snapped. Loud enough for heads to turn, so I pulled out my phone. Funny, I said, opening an app. Because my forensics team traced this burner email's IP to Carter's condo, the same condo where you posted that cute selfie the night those messages were sent. A few people nearby turned their heads. Phones came out. Melina paled. Yeah. Don't have proof, she hissed. I am the proof, I said. You forgot I design security systems for a living. Carter's face went ghost white. I turned to him. By the way, I informed your company's legal team about the defamation campaign. They're reviewing the ethics clause in your contract. You might want to update your resume. Clara gently touched my arm. Alan, she said softly. Think they've had enough. We walked away, leaving Melina frozen in place as her carefully constructed faca crumbled in full view. Within a week, Carter was let go. His company didn't want the liability. Melina tried against messages, emails, voicemails. I was angry. I made a mistake. Please, I don't have anyone else. I blocked her permanently. The court later granted a restraining order based on the forensic reports and harassment. She now carries a permanent mark on her record. Any further attempt to contact or slander me would result in jail time. I've since moved into a serene waterfront condo overlooking Puget Sound. Quiet, private, mine. Clara and I still grab coffee occasionally. Something's there, maybe. Not. Either way, I'm not searching for someone to complete me. I've already rebuilt my life. And this time, the foundation is betrayal-proof.